had a significant oversupply, but I didn't want to because I didn't want to have to deal with all that.
For some reason, it won't let me include your comment, but a video reply to your comment, Katie. But so I'm just gonna make a new video. I hope you see this. I'll tag you. So she was asking about how to reduce an oversupply. Sorry, my alarm went off and now I'm in a different location. So basically, I never had a huge oversupply, but I did have an oversupply, and I also just like know a lot about things because I like to research. So basically, if you're trying to reduce an oversupply, the way that you do that is by weaning. And I don't mean weaning as in you're not breastfeeding anymore. I just mean weaning as in you're reducing. And so in order to know that you've got 50 ounces, you must be pumping. So if you're nursing and pumping, you're telling your body, I need this much milk. And so it's going to continue to make that much milk, which also means that you can't just drop the amount of pumping that you're doing without your body continuing to make that amount of milk. But if you slowly go down, it will get less. So I was making 40 ounces a day, and I dropped from 5 pumps down to 4 pumps. And that brought me from 40 ounces down to 30 ounces, which was perfect. So in order to drop from 5 pumps down to 4 pumps, I did not just eliminate a pump. That is just a recipe for getting yourself clogged ducts, mastitis, or just generally uncomfortable, and no one wants that. So I'm gonna hold this out a little bit further so that I can put this up here. So this was my schedule when I went from 5 pumps down to 4 pumps. And this is just what I did. You can do whatever you want, but this is what worked for me to go from 40 ounces down to 30 ounces. So what I did was I extended the window between pumping by 15 minutes. I extended that window by 15 minutes per week. So week 0, I was pumping right when I woke up, 12, 3, 6, and then right before bed. And then week 2, I extended that by 15 minutes. I extended that window by 15 minutes. So it's important that I made this mistake at first, not to just add 15 minutes to each time, because that's not actually extending the windows properly. You gotta add like 15 to the first and then 30 to the second, and then basically you gotta figure out your math. That's an annoying part of it. If you were like, this is my schedule, how do I reduce it? I will make you one of these if you like. Happy to do that for you. But basically, you just gotta reduce how much you're pumping, but you don't want to do it quickly. Do it slowly, take your time, and you absolutely can reduce. And I say that as if it's an absolute, and there are some people who end up requiring medications. Those are extreme cases, and they're very, very rare. If weaning didn't work, women would have a very big problem for all of history. So weaning does work. People always say, oh, well, I couldn't, I'd lose all my milk. You'll lose some of your milk. That is the point. And I know that it can create a lot of anxiety when you start seeing those numbers go down. But if that is your goal, you got to keep that in mind and be okay with it. It's still, a lot of people are going to have mixed feelings about it. It can be hard to go from having a significant oversupply to being a just enougher or even just a moderate oversupply. But yeah, if that's your goal, it absolutely can happen. I recommend talking to a lactation consultant, and I hope that that helps a little bit. Have a good day. After filming, I decided to just add my graphs to show where I was at. I started at 40.58 ounces for week 0, where I made no change. And then it stayed pretty stable for the first 2 weeks, around 40 ounces. And then it wasn't until week 3 that I had more of a drop. And that was when I dropped down to about 38 ounces. Yeah, well, more like 39. But still, it was a drop. And then over time, after these weeks, I did see more of a drop.